Hello and welcome back everyone for another Heart of the Swarm replay. This is going to be from MYM or Meet Your Makers. Fairly new team. They were disbanded kinda, then bought out and brought in under new management, so this is kind of their coming back, if you will. So we'll see what their players have to offer. Let's hop into the game. In the bottom left, the opponent for MYM, and a very good player himself, it is going to be Western Wolves Ziktomini. Very strong Zerg player. And in the top right, on Cloud Kingdom, it is going to be Meet Your Makers, KroLu, as our blue Protoss player. So, I really have actually not cast any games of either of these players or anyone from their teams, so this will be very interesting. And already we see a pylon getting little of an interesting position here. You'll usually see it if you're going to go for like a one-hit expand just out here, but this says I'm trying to hide something from you. Zerg player Ziktomini more than likely going to go for a 14 pull, and keep in mind guys, this is a Heart of the Swarm replay. This is not Wings of Liberty, so don't expect specific like standard Wings of Liberty builds, as a lot of them nowadays don't quite work as effectively, so we're seeing little tweaks and variances in the builds. Actually, I was reading the other day a discussion about ZVT openers, and Zerg's really having a hard time, as like the standard 6-screen opener pretty much just garbage now, because they can just get out like a couple early Widow Mines and shut down your third, and since you delayed your gas and stuff so long, you don't have any sort of overseers or detection to make sure that those Widow Mines are taken care of, so you just are denied your third for an extremely long time. But what shall we see? This is not a Forge Fast Expand. Gas already going down. And what is Western Wolves Ziktomini doing? He has a spawning pool going up, more than likely going to be moving into a hatchery. Yes, he is in fact. And he is going to see with his Overlord that there is no Nexus, there is no Forge Fast Expand at all. So, he's definitely going to know that he needs to get at least one gas, just to make sure that he can get speed out fairly early and keep off any sort of early pressure Cybercore coming down as well. So this is going to be very hard to spot for the Overlord. Queen on the way. Going to have plenty of gas to instantly start Warp Gate, and more than likely possibly get out like a sentry. No, in fact a Stalker. So usually with one gate like this, you'll see Stalker then sentry, because the Stalker can put on some pressure as it can kite non-speedlings, so just regular Zerglings, very, very effectively. And sometimes you'll just see a sentry for some kind of passive play, just to make sure no sort of run-bys happen. But in fact, you're going to see a second Stalker, so the pressure will be put on him quite heavily. He's going to go over here and check for any sort of Overlords that he can snipe. Throw down a Nexus, as this is a pretty common path for Overlords to go on, and it does look like KroLu knows this. He might have even scouted out Ziktomini, possibly. I'm sure they've played against each other. I do believe they are both from Europe, so it's kind of one of those things where it's like, if you're both Grandmaster, you just see each other a whole lot. He's just going to look to see if there's a second Stalker, but he does lose this Overlord, which means he does have to build two, so he's now supply blocked. No bueno, I shall say. Two Zerglings just going to get up in here, kind of scout around, see what's going on. It's funny, I've played this map about 1,000,000 times and really never paid attention to these purple crystals in the background. I don't know if they're new to Heart of the Swarm, but I've always noticed these blue ones, but never the purple ones. Anyways, two more gateways coming down at the front. This is going to allow for a full wall up with a Zealot or a Stalker in the middle here. Sentry out. And trying to chase down that probe, but it is not successful. Stalker checking for any more Overlords. Getting some creep spread out, and more than likely we're going to see the third base come down probably around like the 6:30 mark, as he is now aware that this Nexus is up, but there's really nothing going on here as far as mining, as we can see the first 3 probes just being transferred. So no worries about that. He is still definitely ahead in the economy. As we can see, income is quite substantially higher. And it will even get higher as now he just had a ton of drones pop. Stargate opener on the way. Very cool. We're going to probably get to see some sort of Oracle harass. Maybe the new Phoenix with +1. Maybe the Void Rays with their new armored buff, as they can do prismatic alignment, and it actually does +6 damage against all armored units. For a small amount of time, there's a bar that basically pops up above the head of the Void Ray, and that lets you know sort of what's going on. Mothership core out. Forge on the way for those upgrades. Very, very important. Might lose another Overlord here, and that is no good. And he does, in fact. +1 on the way for these roaches. Layer as well, about to finish up, and we do see Phoenix coming out. Some Zerglings, just making sure nothing's moving out. Mothership, not quite sure what it is doing, but maybe just gonna go in for some scouting info. Looks like it's just checking to see if there's a third. Moves pretty quickly, and you don't have to worry about going over terrain, so it can in fact find things out much quicker than, say, like a Stalker. Does not do a terrible amount of damage though, and actually takes damage, you can see, quite quickly. Good creep spread coming out from our Zerg player, and now throws down the third hatchery right after the Mothership gets out of there. +1 weapons on the way as well, and going to be switching into Robotech here fairly soon. Chronoing out these Phoenix, and once you get up 4 Phoenix, if you don't know, once you get up 4 Phoenix, you can actually... Sorry about that, guys. Let me set myself too busy. Once you get up 4 Phoenix, you can lift and with 1 lift, kill a queen, with obviously the 3 other Phoenix firing. So now we see the 4 move out. 5th on the way, just to add some extra DPS, make sure it happens a little faster. Love this choice of Hydralisks from Ziktomini, also getting the speed for them as well. And we've seen a huge resurgence in Hydras. Very cool, because they were super popular in SC1, and they're kind of like a, if you ever watch any Zerg video, for the most part, they're always like a very staple kind of unit shown in the videos, but they weren't ever used up until HOTS for the most part. There were a couple of timings that you could do, but these Overlords are going to be picked off, as well as this Queen. The Spore Caller has not finished up, and KroLu is going to do a ton of damage, but he has to be worried about this counterattack from Ziktomini. And now with Hydras here as well. Oh, and no, they were actually rallied, so they are not going to be doing any damage. Overlords killed again, and KroLu is doing a ton of damage, but now these Hydras can just sit back here, and with their quite nice range, in fact, even without the grooved spines, they can do quite a lot of damage. Almost gets that Mothership core. Photon overcharge. Look at the range on this. In fact, that's quite important to note, as it can protect your Forge Fast Expand from, or your wall off rather, from any sort of melee aggression, and even like Locusts, as they only have 3 range, whereas we can see the Hydra does have 5, and soon to be up to 6 with grooved spines. Phoenix coming in for some more harass. KroLu has done quite a bit of economic damage. He can sit back here and pick this off. Colossi out on the way, and once Colossus hits the field, well, these Hydras and Zerglings from Ziktomini really start to take a lot of damage. Hydras going down, Zerglings, or drones, excuse me, going down, and pulls away once the Spore Crawler comes out. Great creep spread, I must add, from Ziktomini. Look at how far he has got this already going. Really has vision of absolutely everything possibly coming into his base. Quite a beefy army, though, from KroLu, I gotta say. 2 Immortals, making sure that roaches are useless. This ranged Colossi doing a ton of splash damage with +1, 17 damage to be precise. And he does lose 2 Phoenix right there, so now with only 2 Phoenix left, really not the best position to be in, but the 3rd is going to be going up for KroLu. Getting up those gateways that he lost earlier on, and now 2 Colossi on the field. 6 swarm hosts coming out though, and with +1 range, this could get interesting as you can kind of just sit back and the swarm hosts slowly pick away at this army. But you do have to have an overseer available to make sure that this observer does get sniped off. It is super important that you do that, because then your swarm hosts are free to do what they please. And you don't want your swarm hosts being interrupted. A little bit of cannons for defense. +1 carapace coming down as well. Twilight Council on the way. More than likely just for some, you know, 2-2 action, making sure that he can constantly progress in his upgrades. But no, in fact, he is going to go for Blink. This will make his stalkers quite a lot more beefy, as you can, with good micro, blink them back and to make sure that the survivability is increased by 50%. Tons of swarm hosts out of Ziktomini, and how is KroLu going to engage this? As we can see, a whole bunch of locusts forcing out some force fields, not really getting anything, but that's quite a bit of energy. As you can see, 50 per force field, and that's 200 energy coming out. He should be locating, yes, he is re-rallying his locusts over to this 3rd base, and with this observer, he is limiting the vision so much, but we do have a fairly large counterattack of zerglings, nothing that he can't handle with a weapon of zealots, though. Nice force fields coming out, and those locusts actually do nothing, and now KroLu could crush through this 3rd base, as it is armored, so the Immortals do more damage. 3 Colossi here. He has to be happy with the damage he has done, and now this puts Ziktomini in a terrible, terrible spot. He is way behind in supply. Why do I even try building this? Well, yes, I'll let you guys fill in the blanks. And I do have to agree with him that swarm hosts are not super strong as just yet. People really haven't been able to figure out what's going on, and he is correct, you cannot go Muta against Phoenix, as they do have +1 from Wings of Liberty. So they can pretty much, they could already infinitely kite Mutas, and now they can infinitely kite Mutas even better. Swarm hosts can be good, as we saw. There will be a game up with TLO, where he uses them against Goody. It is a ZVT, but he uses basically like a Nidus Worm right here, and then just plants them down right here, and it allows for a very quick assault on an expansion. So we might see an evolution there. TLO is one of those players where he's not going to be winning a GSL probably ever, but he comes out with such great ideas. If he could just get practice in a little bit more and his health up to par, he could see quite a strong player. And this is also a very strong composition. Corruptor, swarm hosts, this allows you to deal with air and pretty much have an infinite amount of units to deal with the ground army. The problem is, without this creep here, they just take forever, and they can be kited back like this by Colossi, and well, they're dead. He didn't get Enduring Locusts, so just now getting them, so that's really going to put him in a rough spot. Should have got that quite earlier. It allows these to travel so much farther, and now without any vision with creep, he doesn't even know that they're coming over here. And this is going to be a heck of a hard attack to deal with. He needs to get his Corruptors in there on the Colossi, but huge aggressive blink out of KroLu, and this could be the end for Ziktomini right away. Doesn't have an Overseer to snipe off this Observer, and with a blink as well, we can see the supply for Ziktomini plummeting while it keeps going up for KroLu, and that is going to be GG from Ziktomini. Very well played from KroLu, handling that situation quite well, putting on the pressure when necessary, knowing when to come back, even getting up a 4th while he knew the 3rd was just being established for Ziktomini. Just great play overall, to be honest, from KroLu, against a very, very reputable opponent in Western WoW Ziktomini. If you did enjoy, please check out more casts on the YouTube channel, and we will see you soon. Thanks, guys. Please feel free also to leave some feedback. Would love to hear if you guys have any sort of negative or positive comments. Would love some criticism, as long as it is constructive. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more action.